Jolan Tru Centurions, and welcome back to another episode of Starfleet Command. I'm Press Plus Whatever, Admiral Tarek of the Dreadnought R.S. Vendere, as we continue our campaign against the Hyran Star Kingdom. And last time, well, we have completed our little planetary group. We have a planet here, and 2 stations as well, so that holds quite the nice little setup for us. And we're just going to clean up the northern end of enemy territory. So quickly first, we're going to go into supplies and fix up the ship a little bit that we got slightly dented in the previous episode. We ended up taking a little bit more of a schwacking to the front than we kind of had expected. Everything is all topped off, so let us set out into space to see if we can't cause a little bit of havoc. And a straight up MET-10 patrol is an excellent way to begin the day, because we can just go on in there, have a nice straight up duking match with somebody, and not have to worry about anything crazy. And it looks like we brought friends, and today we are being escorted by the Broadsword and the Vor. Both are pirate cruisers, which are currently working to assist us, squaring off against a frigate and a frigate. I don't think necessarily either one is particularly powerful, although if a third vessel shows up, we may have to worry about that a little bit. Let's kick our speed up to our full cruising charge speed of 16, and then start kicking our shield up to the forward setup. Now, you may have noticed that today's episode has not come out at the normal time. It has, in fact, come out at 5 o'clock Eastern Time instead of 12, so 5 hours later than you otherwise might expect. The reason for this is simple. Rogue Tech has come out with its most recent version, which is compatible with the most recent version of Battletech. Rogue Tech, of course, being a massive mod for the game Battletech. And so, in order to celebrate that, we're doing a lot more streaming than usual and a lot more episodes, at least for this week. We're going to sort of go fully on it so we can have a little bit of fun and celebrate the return of Rogue Tech. And so, because of that, I don't want to leave people who are here for Starfleet Command hanging. You're still going to get your episode every single day. Although not necessarily Starfleet Command, but you're still going to get the Starfleet Command episodes on the proper days, and so I have made sure to record them, but I don't want to put out 2 videos at exactly the same time. I did on a Monday with the final Flashpoint video, and the 1 episode of Rogue Tech, and I wasn't super happy about it, but really I want there to be a little bit of stretch between the 2, and so that is what's going on here. The last time we did this, we were having our big massive celebration of hitting 2 years of the channel, and we did a week of content, which was doubled up for everybody, and Starfleet Command ended up moving to 5 o'clock, and the reason for that is the same reason I'm going to give now, that Starfleet Command comes out in episodes that are between 20 and 30 minute chunks. A Rogue Tech episode is an hour. So if I release the Rogue Tech episode first, that gives people all day to set up however they want to so that they can appreciate the content at their leisure. Because it's much easier to do that if you've got a little bit of heads up time. Whereas with Starfleet Command, it's really cheap, cheerful, and easy to handle. Nice snack-bized sites, which some people have somewhat expressed lament towards because they would like longer episodes, but that's the way that Starfleet Command is basically going to go in perpetuity. So, because of that, if I put out Starfleet Command later on in the day, and you need to get off my butt, if I put it out later in the day, it's easier for people to just sort of pick up on it and slot it into their schedule wherever they need it to be. Ooh, he's managed to get right through my aft shields by being right there. However, it looks like we're going to force him into a mine, perhaps? Is he slightly? He's slightly off. So let's go kick on the high energy turn, because I want him no longer behind me. I do not feel safe with him hanging out there, and also, you know, the mines are hurting, because our friends are trying to bomb him. And we'll slow down the speed of the ship pretty significantly, start patching up all the broken things, and fire the port side weapons at him. Those are friendly fighters, luckily for us, so we don't have to worry too much about them. And we'll just keep on arcing on in. Those Gatling phasers are incredibly dangerous. It makes them quite the powerful gunboat, or Aegis cruiser. I'm not quite sure which one, but in any event, he's no longer with us. So we'll just keep cutting around. We'll take out the last one, and hopefully everything will be handled in very short order. I'm going to increase the speed of time because we've mostly got this handled while we just sort of chill and wait for the plasma torpedoes to recharge. Let the forward shield speak for itself. And wow, he's actually packing a lot of fusion cannons. If he wanted to, he could get on top of somebody and really hurt them. Luckily for us, the AI is not quite that intelligent and will not do so. They did manage to hurt me quite a bit with some of those phasers. And the mines, really. The mines are what got through my rear shield. But through just ripple-firing plasma torpedoes, we eventually managed to nail him to the ground and have annihilated our enemies. Excellent work by everybody, although we do need to go back and repair now. Kind of ironic that we have to go back and repair because of frigates. And they caused 48 damage. We had been dueling it out with like dreadnoughts and heavy cruisers and doing an excellent job. It's the frigates that finally overwhelm us. In part, though, because we weren't being hyper-aggressive about things. Oh, we were being hyper-aggressive. And we're going to set out, see if we can't grab that last tile. and that'll basically cut the enemy off from their support in the Mirax Star League. Let's go take a convoy raid. We're a little bit better geared up for that sort of thing. Hopefully we're not going to run into anything too dangerous up here to the north, and we should be able to cut through it without too much trouble. We are being escorted today, of course, by the Impala, brought to you by Chevy. And how many freighters do we have? 1, 2, 3, there's no point in counting them, although they are a very mixed type, which does tell me this is probably a pirate convoy. So we've picked up on something not quite traditional. So they're working with pirates, the scum that they are. So let's make sure that we get our forward shield reinforced, as it is somewhat important, although having our aft shield reinforced in that last battle probably would have been quite helpful as well. There is the escort. It appears to be a little tiny frigate, so this shouldn't be any real difficulty. We're just going to kick on the tractor beam, have it ready, and I'm going to pop up to the top view. Oh, it didn't actually go away. Sometimes when you hit F1 to go up to the top-down view, it'll break the tractor beam for some reason with some races, but it's not... It becomes consistent with some races. Oh, wow, we actually have a lot over here. There's also the IKV Victory. So the Klingons working with us on this one. Let's kick on the speed. Every little bit of the ship that you can manage. And I suppose we're just going to cut through the convoy and destroy it. So we'll get on forward, we'll deploy our pseudo-frigates perhaps, and just wipe them all out. Although if you keep coming towards me, I'm going to break you. And there's nothing you can do to stop that. You have a D-type plasma torpedo, which is fairly significant for your size. So I got to give you credit for that much. Although your size being a frigate, so I'm not sure how much credit I can give you for that one. And bounced. Come back here. Get back over here. I'm not going to fight you. If that's what you want to do, I ain't going to fight you. I'm going to go kill your buddies. Because I do not need to have that in my life. So we're just going to cruise around. And you know what? If you want to keep following me, you can follow that. Didn't think you'd want to follow that. Yeah, he's going to avoid that as best as he can. We're going for the top of the convoy because they are the most in danger of getting away, and we can't have that. Having a light dreadnought, a Q ship, and a frigate just ripping through your formation is kind of unfair. But you know what? That's exactly what we're supposed to be doing. R-type plasma torpedo might be able to handle this guy all on its own. So it runs speed of time to normal. Fire the R and start to turn, because we need to move on to the next target. And if I need any more, I still have my starboard side plasma torpedoes. It is. Fire them both towards him. That should impact no problem and annihilate him. Before he could deploy the Wild Weasel, how unfortunate for him. Kick on the tractor beam, we'll use the port side weapons in order to wipe him out. We've also got the phaser for backup, although we don't have all that many phasers. 9 phaser ones is not exactly dreadnought level armaments here. In fact, normally most light dreadnoughts increase the number of phasers that you have over heavy weapons, but not so for the Romulans. They definitely keep the phaser complement very, very small. Rely much more heavily on the spiking damage that comes out of the plasma torpedoes. Prepare the phaser follow-up, though. Tore him apart. Alright, what do we got left? Who is left on the enemy faction? Just you and the actual defender. So we'll increase the speed of time and prepare the torpedo beam so he can't get away, and we'll slow way down because there's no reason not to at this point. We can just chill with it, and besides, our starboard side plasma torpedoes might come online in time. Ooh, just barely actually, maybe. Yeah, looks like it. And fire a plasma torpedo, and he's dead. On to the actual defender. We want to make sure that the pirates get this message very loud and clear, that you are not allowed to run your drugs and your smuggled goods through our sector of space. Even though I do believe that the most commonly smuggled item in all of Star Trek that I can remember is Romulan ale. So there's that. We're going to just sneak right up on behind him. By sneak, I mean we're just going to boldly drive right on up and fire heavy weapons into his face because he seems to have stopped. And there goes this Wild Weasel, so we'll slow down a little bit more. Wait for the Wild Weasel to dissipate. 3, 2, 1. You're dead. Defeated. Alright, so the entire convoy has been eliminated. All things have been successful, and that should hopefully neutralize that tile up there, which will mean that all of the sort of like that northern edge of the Romulan Star Empire is completely gone, and that allows us to start crashing through the south. So we're going to zoom out for a moment. It's generally not super accurate, but yep, we appear to have the entire north contained. So let's go head south and start causing some havoc. We will have more planets to assault, more territories to control, and maybe more stations to steal. I'm going to avoid that. In fact, I'm just going to come to the supply yard. We're going to refill everything we need. We're perfectly good. Lovely. Scroll down a little bit more. and into enemy space, and we're going to just start causing havoc throughout all of the Hydran Star Kingdom. We're light dreadnought. We're kind of designed for raiding and havoc causing, so we may as well lean into it a little bit. Hydran starships have been detected. Let's red alert and overload all weapon systems. Forward shields to maximum reinforcement. We'll get ready to wipe them completely out. All of them. So let's get up to our speed of 16. So we're cruising along quite quickly. And that'll allow us to engage as soon as we can. We're being escorted today by the Mutant, which apparently is our tender carrier, which is apparently providing us with resupply of some description. We decided, hey, why don't you come along on this journey? It's an HDE, which is a frigate, which would be relatively easy to annihilate, although he could be bringing, like, a ton of fighters, and in that case, it might be a little less of a joke than I'm otherwise making it out to be. Oh, actually, no, not too fast, not too fast, not too fast. Still have plasma torpedoes to charge. If I actually want to kill him, and I do. He has deployed his fighters, but I don't think they're going to be a significant threat, so we're just going to cruise right on into him. I do think he's going to have a fairly significant... Oh, jeez, that's a lot of plasmas. Or not plasma, but phaser, jeez. Maximize the forward reinforcement. Fire the plasma torpedoes. He almost got through, even from basically maximum range. Wow, that could have hurt badly. It didn't, but it could have. That was a lot of Gatling phasers. That many Gatling phasers could be a significant problem in fairly short order. Even for a ship this size, if he had managed to actually get to us, had we not grabbed him and stopped him from actually, touching us, that could have gone way, way worse than it otherwise did. We're going to do a little bit of raiding along the outer edge of the territory. We're not going to immediately throw ourselves at the capital of the Hydran Star Kingdom, because I do actually think that planet just to our south is the capital of the Hydran Star Kingdom. The most powerful homeworld planet, which will require homeworld assaults, and I'd rather not have to bother with it. At least not right now. In a bit we absolutely will. We will annihilate the entire homeworld and pillage it, plunder it, and take it for our own. Well, Romulan's not really all that big on the whole plunder aspect, are they? I mean, more subversion than anything else. I don't think we've ever actually seen what the Romulans would do if they captured anybody. I suppose you could make an argument for the Remans, but do the Remans really count? That's a debate for another time. So I would be interested actually to see what the Romulans would do to the Federation if they took it over. I mean, they do have like a Roman-esque view of the world, so do we just sort of imagine what the Roman Empire did to the rest of the world when it actually conquered everything? You didn't. You did. Okay, you're dead. I didn't even need that. He decided he was going to use a scatter pack. Dumping the scatter pack was the dumbest possible thing because he can only deploy one shuttle at a time. So if you can only deploy one shuttle at a time and your options are between avoiding the death plasma torpedoes or firing 6 missiles, which would you pick? Now, to be fair, either option he will lose. But I suppose he wanted to go down swinging. And you know what? Upon further reflection, I can respect that. A captain who's willing to just go all out and say, you know what, buddy? Screw you, I'm coming for you. You gotta give him some credit. Now, he should have deployed it a little bit earlier just to make sure that it actually got out. But I suppose he did what he could. He wasn't that good of a captain, after all. Heading towards what is apparently the Bajoran wormhole, even though we appear to be on the exact opposite end of the galaxy. Not exactly required or interesting, though. Let's pump up the forward shield. Actually, it would be really interesting if I could fly into the Bajoran wormhole. Can you imagine if there were actual, like, wormholes you could fight over in this? Turn them into choke points, major distances. You could fly across half the galaxy, but why would you want to kind of things? Where instead, you could fight over the wormholes. And I need to stop reminding myself of all the really cool things that I think Starfleet Command could have had if they made a sequel to it that was sort of more faithful to the tabletop. Sort of like Starfleet Command 1 and 2 are. And with modern technology, can you imagine it? Processing power is so much greater. Graphics have improved, and even then, you don't need to have a super beefy graphics card in order to play this kind of game. It came out in 2001, and yet it looks gorgeous. And really, anything that doesn't look gorgeous can be improved in relatively short order. Here, have the gift of the gods. Like 90% of fixing Starfleet Command in order to make it look good came from changing the backgrounds, improving the ship models, and improving the planets. That was about it. Oh, and also making sure that the interface was in the proper definition and adding in this little border down to the bottom, thanks to Hot and Spicy. So that was it. Was I supposed to scout somebody? I feel like the mission should have ended by now. Was I supposed to still be Oh yeah, asteroid base assault. Duh. So he actually did a fairly good job of weakening my forward shield. Anyway, where was I? Oh, I see the target. Send the probe. Oh no, there it is. Off to our port. But yeah, like, the game is solid. If only we had access to the source code to actually, like, work on new and interesting parts of it, it would be amazing. Unfortunately, that source code is not available to just random people. But yeah, this game is just, it's rock solid. And all it needs is like a couple of little expansions on it in order to improve it even more, give it a better overmap. And to be fair, if you want to program it, you could actually make and completely overhaul the strategic element of the game. Because all you need to do is tie in the 3D environment when actual battles are fought, and you can manage that. Drop the cloak. Let's avoid damage if at all possible. Okay, are you gonna shoot at me or what? I'm like really close to you. There it is. Look. So yeah, so the strategic element of this could be modified if you had the sufficient coding skills. The 3D element does need access to the source code to fix things, like mainly adding and subtracting weapons, adding in new races, that kind of thing. But just the strategic elements, the stuff that I've talked about with a couple of other people who do actually know how to code, they're like, yeah, if you wanted to, you could pretty much remake the entire 2D element of the game. And that would allow you to have all the strategic 2D elements that you need, and then you would just tie it into the 3D whenever it needed to launch. And that seems like such an interesting project, and I really kind of wish I had time to do it. But yeah, you'd be basically remaking that half of the game though, so there would be that, but you could absolutely do it. Now, you can't do anything about the 3D, unfortunately. 3D is pretty locked in where it is. We can change models, we can change weapon damage, we can change ranges, we can change colors and that kind of thing. You can implement whole new ship models, and anything within the confines of the game is pretty moddable. But the moment you try and stretch the confines of the game is the when you start running into a couple of problems in order to handle anything, which really kind of does limit modding to a certain extent. So the reason that I've been thinking about this lately is because we now have 3 different mod teams who have mentioned highs in my Discord, all working on different TNG mods. It's almost enough to make me say, you know what, maybe I should stop my TNG mod, because these 2 other people who clearly know a heck of a lot more about modding are going for it. Which, you know, more power to them. I mean, that's awesome, in my opinion. I think it's really cool that there's a lot of people, although I do kind of think that if people pooled their efforts, they could probably come up with something faster and better. Which is one of the reasons I'm like, should I really continue the TNG mod at this point? I mean, like, creating this ship list is proving to be quite interesting in terms of trying to come up with something that makes sense lore-wise, TNG-wise, but at the same time be balanced within itself. So I've been going back and forth on how to work on the ship list. I've set a goal in mind. I'm going to create 4 different ships for all 8 factions to start with. And of course, 4 ships for the pirate faction. It'll be a frigate, a light cruiser, a heavy cruiser, and a dreadnought. And just then expand from there as the world takes me. So I haven't quite decided what everything needs to be just yet. But I've started working on mocking up different ship designs in the ship list, just trying to come up with where is the start of creating a ship list. Because that is really probably the most difficult part, in my opinion, is figuring out where your start is. The moment you have your initial reference starship is the moment where everything else will just sort of fall into place, because everything can be made relative to that ship. But the first one is always the hardest. And I've been bouncing back and forth a bit on a couple of different ideas on how I want to implement it. So, haven't made any major decisions on it just yet. But I have gone through several mock-ups. Because one of the big things is, how much power do you give a ship? How much power do you give one of these starships? Do I make it enough so that it can run around charging every single one of its weapons while traveling at a speed of 15? Or is there other considerations that I need to look into? I had asked a while back if anybody knew any sort of like ship construction rules from the original Starfleet battles. Unfortunately, nobody seemed to know of any. If you happen to be watching this and you know of any, please feel free to either put a comment down below or hop on the Discord and send me a comment through there. You can find the link to the Discord in the description down below. But I was hoping to find some sort of some sort of baseline, like how did Starfleet Battles initially build their ships? Did they build their ships? And the reason why I kind of assumed that there would be shipbuilding rules like that is because Starfleet Battles and Battletech come out at about, ooh, we got a dreadnought, come out at about the same time, and I kind of figured that they have somewhat similar layouts and certain things like that. So it's a Regent class heavy dreadnought, which should be a bit of a trick in order to actually take on, because it will have fairly significant numbers of fighters, and I'm very tempted to launch my own pseudo-frigates. The problem is my pseudo-frigates are not... They don't have D-type plasma torpedoes, and I really should get ones with them, just to handle the fighters. I mean, I don't know if there are any, but I should look for it, because their fighter complements are terrifying. Okay, let's not be dumb. We have a strategy that we use for capital ships. We use that, and then we break out to port, and we basically absorb all the fire on the nose, and we wait for him to crash stop. Excellent. Okay, now we cloak, and we slow down while we cloak. And while we're doing that, we're going to let the fighters bait out towards us. Then we're going to decloak after the fighters have fired. Once the fighters have opened fire with all of their complement, we're more or less safe for the next round. He started accelerating, which is good, but we can't do anything until he accelerates to a speed of 4. So there's the fire. Now we come out of cloak. We'll let our phasers start working. Hopefully they'll all target the one group. Good, they did. So one group of fighters is now dead. And we'll get the bow on. We'll fire all the plasma torpedoes. All phasers, please. Okay, plasma torpedoes. He's at speed. There he goes. And we'll drop the cloak. So we didn't drop the cloak quite as soon as I would have otherwise liked, but that'll rip out his forward shield entirely. And then I'm going to drop a big mine and kick on the speed and turn my back to him. So the fighters I'm not super worried about. They literally can't touch me as far as I know, as long as I'm in cloak. He absolutely can, and he has the phasers to do it. So I need to get some distance on this mine. And that ought to force him away as well, because who wants to get anywhere near a nuclear bomb? I think it's a rather foolproof defense, especially when he doesn't have any shields. Like, the next run we make on him is gonna be very painful for him, I'm quite sure. Alright, let's start slowing down. We need to actually charge our plasma torpedoes. This is our main weapon, that if we don't have, then it's all kind of pointless. So I just want to build a nice little mine thicket that he's got to go through. Give me my shield status. Yeah, I'm gonna rob you all. I'm gonna rob you blind. Every last point of shield power. I am stealing for engine power. I wish I had a little bit more, just a little bit more. Okay, fighters coming in again. Nobody cares, because you can't touch me. Another mine. Just gonna build a nice little mine wall. That's the goal. I just gotta build enough of a defense, and in fact, you're turning away from me. I'm gonna come out of cloak. I'm gonna attack your fighters. Come on, fire all phasers. Fire all phasers. Oh, that's almost all of them. Okay, fired his fusion cannons. So I'm expecting his hellbores. But what I want to do is I want to kill these killer bees. Oh, he's starting to close into me. Starboard side phasers. Okay, drop a mine. And drop. I don't want to let him get too much on me. So turn away. Try and get behind the mine wall. That's the goal. Okay, so his fighters have gone back home. Didn't need to do it, probably shouldn't have bothered to do it, because it did require us to take a couple of shield hits, but I wanted to give it a shot. I'm just building a nice little hook here, which he will have trouble getting by. Because right now, distance is my friend. Later on, distance will be his friend, like when we're trying to get in with the plasma torpedoes. But for now, I don't want to engage him just yet, especially not with my R-type plasma torpedo so undercharged, because apparently I was robbing its power. That's not good. Okay, so now I need to start maneuvering down. He's going to try and get around my hook. Oh, this reminds me so much of Warcraft 3, Wintermall Wars. Or, not Wintermall Wars. Is it? No, Wintermall was the one with the one in the middle. But the Tower Defense Wars, where you would try and create a hook in the area that the enemy would have to circle around multiple times. Okay, is that our type plasma torpedo charging? Because I don't think it is. Okay, turn around more. I've got my nice little wall here. He can try and engage, but hopefully he won't. No, that's good. We've got our plasma torpedo. So I'm going to increase the speed of time. Put a mine right on there. Oh, I was hoping so much for a moment that he was going to hit that. Ended up not being. Okay, we've used most of our mines. We're running out here. I need you to not bug me for another half turn. Well, not half turn. Actually, no, probably a half turn. And now we're... Oh, okay, so he's gonna turn away. That's good. So now I need to trick him into, once again, wasting a wild weasel. Okay, let's see if he reacts to that. He should. He did not. Interesting problem. Is this ready? It is. He will react to this. He did not. He can't react to that. There's not enough time. No, seriously, what happened to his shuttle bay? It was not destroyed. Alright, so that was interesting. Fighters inbound. Never mind. I mean, perfect timing, but never mind. I was about to drop into cloak to avoid the fighters, but... No, seriously, why wasn't he launching shuttles? He had them. I know he had them because he had only used one, and he's got like 4 of them. But anyway, that's going to kill him. So, and we took the tile. Nice job. Alright, that's going to do it for today's episode. I've been Derek. If you like what we've been seeing, hit that like button and subscribe. If you want to see a notification every time I post these videos, press that little bell icon, leave a comment, share the video, and I will see you all in the next episode.